What on earth just happened to the All Blacks? That's the question rugby fans all over New Zealand and around the world are asking after the Men in Black were blown off the park in Wellington, suffering a record 43-10 defeat to the Springboks. For a nation so used to dominance on the rugby field, this wasn't just a bad day at the office. It was the heaviest defeat in All Blacks history. A performance that has left coaches, players and supporters searching for answers. The 2025 season has already been full of drama, but nothing prepared fans for what unfolded at Sky Stadium. Just 1 week earlier, the All Blacks had beaten the very same Springbok side 24-17 at Eden Park, keeping their fortress record alive at a 51st straight test unbeaten. That victory gave hope that Scott Robinson's All Blacks were starting to find their feet after a tough start to the Rugby Championship. Instead, the script was flipped on its head. In Wellington, New Zealand led 10-7 at halftime, but were outscored 36-0 in the second half. The result wasn't just a loss, it was a humiliation. The match started with promise. Debutant Leroy Carter marked his first test in dream fashion, scoring the opening try just after 18 minutes. The All Blacks had limited time in the Springboks 22, but looked sharp and dangerous when the opportunities come. Wallace Atiti, starting at number 8, reflected afterward that the team felt really good, heading into the break. With the scoreboard in their favour and a strong crowd behind them, there was no indication of the storm about to hit. But as the second half kicked off, everything unravelled. The Springboks pounced on the mistakes, dominated the set piece and exposed New Zealand's defence time and time again. Missed tackles piled up, 46 in total across 80 minutes. The scrum buckled, the line-out faltered and the aerial battle was completely one-sided. 2 Springbok tries came directly from line-out dominance early in the second half. A body blow the All Blacks never recovered from. South Africa were ruthless. They ran in 5 tries, capitalising on every New Zealand error. Cheslin Kolbe was electric out wide. Andre Oosthuizen bulldozed through the midfield and the box pack hammered the All Blacks at scrum time. By the time the final whistle blew, the scoreboard read 43-10, surpassing even the infamous 35-7 loss to South Africa before the 2023 Rugby World Cup. The Freedom Cup was gone, and with it, New Zealand's pride. Scott Robinson has suddenly found himself under immense pressure. In the space of 3 weeks, his All Blacks have suffered 2 pieces of unwanted history. Their first ever loss to Argentina on Argentinian soil, and now the biggest defeat of all time. The man brought in to revive a team has overseen 2 crushing blows that will haunt his record. Robinson admitted that after the match that he was at loss to explain how quickly the game got away. Once they got rolling, they were hard to stop, he said, acknowledging the Springboks' dominance in the high ball contest and the ability to turn pressure into points. Damien McKenzie, one of the few bright sparks in the season so far, summed up the mood. The boys are hurting, that's for sure. It's tough. His words reflect the weight of expectation on the team. Losses hurt any side, but for the All Blacks who measure themselves by trophies and records, defeats of this magnitude cut especially deep. To understand how the season spiralled into this low point, we need to look back at the earlier rounds of the Rugby Championship. New Zealand started the campaign with a mixed bag. They secured a strong win over Argentina, but then made history in Buenos Aires, where Argentina beat the All Blacks on their own soil for the first time. That defeat already raised concerns about the team's consistency, particularly around discipline and decision-making. Fan and pundits called for sharper execution, but the Eden Park win against South Africa seemed to restore some belief. That high lasted exactly 1 week. So what went wrong in Wellington? The list is long, but some issues stand out. First, the All Blacks simply couldn't cope with South Africa's power up front. The scrum and line-out crumbled under pressure, robbing New Zealand of any platform to build attacks. Each time the Springboks forced an error, they turned it into points, swinging momentum further into their favour. Second, the defence was far too soft. Missing 46 tackles in a test match is unacceptable at this level. South Africa didn't just beat New Zealand physically, they exposed mental lapses, creating overlaps and exploiting space that should have been covered. When Kolbe and Williamson cut through, it looked like the All Blacks had no answers. Third, discipline. Penalties and handling errors killed any chance of staying in the contest. Every time New Zealand tried to fight back, mistakes handed the ball back to the Springboks, who showed no mercy. The second half felt like a vicious cycle. New Zealand error, Springbok points, heads dropping further. Leadership is another area under scrutiny. Scott Barrett has been learning on the job as captain. And while he's shown strength in patches, this was the kind of test where a steadying voice was badly needed. In the past, leaders like Richie McCaw or Kieran Reid had an unshakable ability to slow the game down and restore calm. In Wellington, no one managed to stop the bleeding. Robinson himself admitted that there was no warning signs during preparation. The team trained well, carried momentum from Eden Park win, and went into the match confident. But when South Africa surged, the All Blacks couldn't find answers. The inability to adapt in real time is perhaps the biggest concern. Test rugby is brutal, and the momentum can shift quickly. But great teams find ways to wrestle it back. On Saturday, New Zealand had no response. So what now? The All Blacks have a 2-week break before hosting the Wallabies in the first of 2 Bledisloe Cup tests in Eden Park. Eden Park will once again be the stage, and New Zealand will be desperate to protect their 52-test unbeaten streak there. The pressure couldn't be higher. A first loss to Australia at Eden Park since 1986 or anywhere in New Zealand since 2001 would plunge Robinson's reign into crisis mode. To avoid that nightmare, several things must change. The set piece has to be shored up. The scrum and liner issues exposed by the Springboks will be targeted again, and the All Blacks cannot afford another collapse. Defence has to be tightened, with a ruthless focus on tackling accuracy. Mental resilience is equally critical. Players must stay calm under pressure rather than compounding mistakes. Coaching adjustments will also be vital. Robinson is known for his creativity and innovation, but Test rugby is often about simplicity under fire. When the Springboks went on a tear, the All Blacks needed a plan B, something to break momentum and slow down the game. Those tactical decisions must come quicker in the next outgoings. Despite the disaster in Wellington, it's not all doom and gloom. Debutant Leroy Carter showed flashes of promise with his first try in Test rugby. Young talents like Satiti are gaining vulnerable experience, and as painful as records defeats are, they often serve as turning points. The question is whether the squad has the leadership and grit to respond. History shows All Blacks don't stay down for long. After previous humiliations, they've bounced back with renewed focus and ferocity. That will be the challenge now, to turn embarrassment into fuel and to ensure the rest of the Rugby Championship and the Bledisloe Cup doesn't spiral into further unwanted history. So what on earth just happened to the All Blacks in Wellington? They were exposed across every area of the game, out-muscled, out-thought and out-executed. It was a performance that will be remembered for all the wrong reasons. But what happens next is even more important. Can Robinson and his players learn quickly, fix their fundamentals and restore faith in the jersey? Or will 2025 be remembered as the year New Zealand rugby hit rock bottom? The answers will come soon enough, but one thing is certain, the All Blacks can't afford another performance like this one we saw in Wellington. Ever wanted to create your own rugby highlights channel just like this one? With my course, the YouTube Creator Toolkit, I show you exactly how I do it, from the tools I use to the templates I built. You get everything. Just copy, paste, and start creating. Learn how to grow your channel, keep viewers hooked, and turn views into income. Click the link in the description below to learn more and start your channel today. Now back to the video. Thanks for watching, and if you found this breakdown useful and want to follow the rest of the All Blacks journey through the Rugby Championship and beyond, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. See you next time. Peace.